Welcome to Asphalt Talk, a podcast by and for asphalt professionals. Join our expert hosts as they tackle real industry issues to pave a smoother way for asphalt suppliers and producers. This podcast is sponsored by MAPA, the Missouri Asphalt Pavement Association. Founded to promote quality and accountability, MAPA has been serving the asphalt producers of Missouri since 1990.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Asphalt Talk. I'm your host, Dale Williams with the Missouri Asphalt Pavement Association. Today, we're sitting down with Brandi Baldwin from MoDOT to tackle Brandi's priorities as the new state construction and materials engineer. So welcome, Brandi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Brandi, maybe we just jump in. Can you tell us how long you've been with MoDOT?
Yeah, I've been with MoDOT since 2005 when I graduated from the University of Missouri in Columbia, so about 17 years.
What positions did you hold prior to becoming the state construction and materials engineer?
So prior to this, I was the project director for two major projects in the Central District, the I-70 Roachport Bridge, which is well into construction, and was beginning the procurement of the I-70 US 63 connector there in Columbia.
I mean, those are two impressive projects. What's the favorite job you've had while working for MoDOT?
And Dale, that's kind of hard to pick which one's been my favorite. It's like trying to pick your favorite kid, but I've really enjoyed every position I've held at MoDOT, and each has really aided me in my progression and growth over the years. I started out as an inspector and spent many years in project offices and really had a lot of fun with those projects. I've also been utility engineer and RE and a design liaison. But I'd have to say my time in design build projects as either deputy project director or project director really gave me the most well-rounded understanding of how MoDOT works and the most opportunity for growth. So I've really enjoyed those projects.
Did you always want to work in the road construction industry?
Honestly, no, I didn't know that's what I wanted to do. I had a very modest upbringing with parents who were just blue-collar factory workers. They did their best, but didn't know how to get me into college, let alone help provide me with direction on my future. They just knew they wanted better for me than what they had. But I did grow up being taught there's nothing I can't do, and I've always loved working with my hands and figuring out things. Had a very supportive dad who, even though I was a girl, he never helped me back and always pushed me to do more or help me work on my own cars growing up and things like that. But by just luck and good fortune, I ended up accepting a position as a construction inspector in the Mexico project office. And after my first week on the road, I knew there was no better place for me. That's where I wanted to be.
But it's a great industry to work in. I can tell you it's been very rewarding for myself. So who has been your most important professional mentor?
So I have great mentors along the way. It's really hard to know which one's the pick or where to start, but if I had to name like my top 3 or 4, I'd have to say Jackie Wardlow, Nicole Hood, Kenny Voss, and Paula Goff. Jackie, I think a lot of the folks in the asphalt industry may remember Jackie. She was a construction inspector in the Mexico project office, and she really took me under her wing and taught me everything she knew, taught me how to be a really good inspector, but more importantly, she really showed me the importance of being a good partner and a friend to our partners in the industry, and taught me the importance of win-win type situations. She really helped lay the groundwork for me as a good partner to the industry. And Nicole and Kenny and Paula, they've really helped mold me professionally. They each provide a really unique perspective where I can take the best of each of them and help grow myself.
So could you tell us a little bit about your hobbies outside of work?
There isn't really just one hobby I spend a lot of time on, but several I spend a little bit of time on. Having kids really keep you pretty busy. But I really enjoy like woodworking, quilting, crocheting, and tinkering on my 1980 CJ7 with my husband. I had a Jeep when I was, my parents had an old Jeep when I was a kid, and it's something I always really loved. And so during the pandemic, we found one on sale on Facebook Marketplace, went and picked it up and tried to drive her home and really have a good time just cruising around in it in the weekends. But like I said, I do have 3 kids and a wonderful husband that really keep me busy for most of my free time. And we enjoy traveling, and we have a goal to hit all of the 50 states together.
How many states have you done so far?
The kids probably have a better count on it than I do, but I'd say we're about probably halfway to our goal.
That's great. Have you made the big treks yet to Hawaii or Alaska?
Now, my husband and I have. We honeymooned in Alaska together, and actually separately we went to Hawaii. The small school that we graduated from, they do really big senior trips, and separately we each went to Hawaii for our senior trip. So the kids will hold us to getting them to those two, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
And now a public service announcement from our sponsor, May Create Design. Google Translate doesn't work for web designer to paving company translations. You say hot mix and it thinks you're talking about the latest snack craze. Wouldn't it be nice to work with a designer who knows the difference between binders and bitumen? Work with folks who have been speaking your language for the past 17 years. Visit maycreate.com. That's MAYE create.com. Because if you think your website sucks, so does everyone else.
What is one thing that most people in the asphalt industry don't know about you?
You know, what they probably don't know, my resume may not appear to show that I've done much asphalt work, spending a lot of my time in these later years on major river bridges. I have spent my fair share of time doing night work on I-70 with overlays and things like that. My very first job was probably one of the last full depth mill and fill type projects we did before we hit the practical design era, which was a 9-mile stretch of 9-inch super paved job. So I learned a lot there about asphalt and big projects like that, and I haven't got to experience another one like that in my 17 years here. So it was a pretty cool experience, and maybe we'll get back to those type of jobs someday.
Yeah, I hope so. Now that we finally got some funding, maybe we can get back to building some more substantial jobs.
Yeah.
What is the most important lesson you've learned over your career?
Oh, there's been a lot of lessons. But I'd have to say the most important lesson I've learned is to stay open to new ideas and don't be too quick to judge without learning all sides of the story.
What are your priorities as the new state construction and materials engineer?
So, with the retirements of Dave, Jay, and Randy, MoDOT lost over 100 years of experience. I know I have really big shoes to fill, but they left behind an amazing team and a very strong foundation there at the lab and with our experience across the state and construction materials. So I just want to build upon that really strong foundation to just help keep MoDOT moving forward into the future, and to continue to partner with all of you while we deliver results on MoDOT's 3 pillars of safety, service, and stability.
What's the biggest challenge you're facing with your role right now? How are you tackling?
So one of the biggest challenges that we're facing is gaining and retaining knowledge within our staff. We got a lot of new staff, and I know industry does too. And I intend to work with the division to develop a really robust training plan to capture this knowledge that we do still have and spread it throughout the division. And I'd like to partner with industry on this effort as we face similar challenges together, and hopefully we can find a way together to attack it.
I think that's great, Brandi, and we will be glad to work with you trying to keep things moving forward, because we have a lot of turnover in our industry as well. So I think that's a great priority. Where do you think the industry is headed in the future?
So we're here with a really exciting time that we're facing. We're facing the biggest dip in history. We have a lot of work ahead of us. So I'm just really excited to be a part of that.
If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think that's a really, really fun question, Dale. And I think I would tell myself to trust my gut and not to be afraid to ask why, and try to make changes for the better. It's something I tell all of the newer members that I get to meet at MoDOT every chance I get. The day that I realized at MoDOT that as long as I have good intentions and I am prepared to work hard and work with others to get things done, there's no one that's going to stand in your way to make impactful changes. So I really want to encourage all of our newcomers to come in and be open to trying to make MoDOT a better place to be.
I think you've just probably answered my next question is what is one piece of advice you would give someone starting out in the construction industry?
That I'd say stick with it. I know a lot of folks get frustrated in our industry with the long hours, and it can always be tempting to look for other lines of work that don't have the long hours and the working out in the heat and the cold and all that. But if you stick with it, I think you'll find that it's some of the most rewarding work that you'll ever do, and you have something tangible at the end of it that you can share with your family and say, hey, look what I got to be a part of.
Yeah, that's been a rewarding part for me, although my kids get tired of me reminding them, hey, I worked on that project.
My kids
They're
are
like,
still
yeah,
young
Dad.
enough, they're pretty much still into it, they think it's pretty cool. But
I usually hear, yeah, Dad, we know. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
being open to new ideas and being a fair partner.
Great. So do you have any parting thoughts as we wrap up here?
None really I can think of, Dale. Just thanks for thinking of me, and I've really enjoyed visiting with you.
Thank you for taking the time, Brandi. I look forward to getting to know you better and working with you, partnering with you, and I think we got a great future ahead of us with the funding, and really look forward to it. And with that, I'd just like to say thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me, Dale.
Thank you for listening to Asphalt Talk, the podcast by and for asphalt professionals. If you enjoyed listening and learned something today, please leave us a review. Your review will help us connect with other professionals like yourself so we can keep the conversation going.
1992 called, they want their website back. Stop apologizing for your crappy site and stop working with that company who thinks hot mix is the latest snack craze. Work with folks who have been speaking your language for the past 17 years. And get a website that's not a gigantic pain in the you-know-what to build. Visit mayecreate.com, that's M-A-Y-E create.com for a free consultation and quote. Because if you think your website sucks, so does everyone else.